Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Sax Reacts here on the Sax Says channel. Got a good show for y'all today. You know how we do it. We got to kick this off with a little bit of motivation, a few motivational words, then we'll get into this show. But without further ado, let's roll.
How to stop worrying and start living. Worry is a thief. It steals your peace, your time, and your energy. Yet it never solves tomorrow's problems. Life is too short to live in constant fear of what if. The key to freedom is simple. Stop worrying and start living. 1. Live in the present. Most worries come from the past you can't change or the future you can't control. Focus on today. It's the only place where life truly happens. 2. Accept what you can't control. Peace begins when you stop fighting battles that are not yours to fight. Some things are out of your hands, and that's okay. 3. Take action where you can. Worry changes nothing. Action changes everything. If something bothers you, do something about it. Even small steps give you power. 4. Practice gratitude. A grateful mind has no room for endless worry. When you count your blessings instead of your fears, your perspective transforms. 5. Care less about opinions. Many worries come from trying to please everyone. The truth? Not everyone will approve of you, and that's their problem, not yours. 6. Nurture your mind and body. Exercise, meditation, deep breathing, and rest aren't luxuries. They're tools for a calmer, stronger life. 7. Remember, life is short. One day, all the things you worried about will mean nothing. But the moments you lived fully, loved deeply, and embraced joy, those are what will remain. Worry is wasted energy. Living is chosen energy. Don't waste your days imagining problems. Use them to create memories, to grow, to love, to experience the beauty of life.
Super great message, y'all. And remember that, especially when we're doing these reactions, a lot of videos, a lot of stuff like that we can easily get caught up in that and then everything going on in your life. Stop worrying about it. You know what I mean? Stop worrying about it. That don't do nothing for you. So great message. Now let's get the show on the road. Welcome to Sax Reacts, to this theater we call the world. So step inside and enjoy the show.
All right, folks, we just got confirmation. The FBI just admitted Alex Jones was, in fact, right about Charlie Kirk's assassin. Now, I want you to think about this, okay? What the media mocked as a conspiracy is now the very trail that federal agents are chasing. And what they uncovered, it is darker and stranger and more coordinated than anyone had imagined. What we're talking about are premature headlines announcing Kirk's death hours, almost 24 hours, almost a full day before it happened.
19 hours ago. 19 hours ago. Today is the 10th. This doesn't make sense.
Now, Grok confirmed this. I went and looked it up and confirmed it. I saw this last night, and I wanted to wait and check. And a whole bunch of corporate publications, a full day before Charlie was shot, put out articles saying Charlie Kirk was shot and killed. But just the headline.
We're talking about a book, ladies and gentlemen, that was published the day before called The Shooting of Charlie Kirk. More importantly, or more specifically, I should say, The Shooting of Charlie Kirk, a comprehensive account of the Utah Valley University attack, the aftermath, and America's response. And yeah, so the FBI has their hands on the rifle, the ammo, and the engravings everything that Jones warned you about. I mean, you couldn't make this stuff up if you tried. Now, if you want, you can rewind what I just said, but think about the title of that book that I just told you about. How in the world can you write, publish, and make for sale, publish like on Amazon's platform, a book with that amount of specificity regarding an incident that technically didn't happen for another 24 hours before the book was released? Is that weird to anyone else? Anyway, so the question is, was this one huge deranged individual, or was this a stage that was set for Charlie Kirk's assassination days in advance? Because the deeper you dig, the harder it is for any of this to be a coincidence. And so now the manhunt is tightening. In fact, the FBI they're putting faces to the name, they're offering six-figure rewards, and they're labeling this what it truly is, a political assassination. So today, I want to go ahead and pull it all together, the clues that Alex Jones flagged, the FBI's confirmation, the media's disgusting spin on this, and why this moment feels like America just crossed the line that it just cannot come back from. Hit the like button, subscribe, strap in, because by the end of today's video, you're going to see why this assassination is far bigger than just Charlie Kirk himself. Not to minimize the situation at all, but it gets so much bigger when you look at the grand scheme. Now, this is about whether free speech survives in the United States.
Now, obviously, they've already got the man, but I put this in here just because of the weird situations with the publications and that book being released 24 hours in advance to the shooting, that some things are not adding up there. So take that how you will.
I don't believe the earth is flat and stationary because I believe in the Bible. I believe in the Bible because the earth is flat and stationary. You know who else knows the earth is flat and stationary? Your U.S. government. You want to see where I found that? A little known place called the Library of Congress. Map of the square and stationary earth. Right at the Library of Congress, loc.gov. But guess what? This isn't the only one. Nope. Library of Congress, new and correct map of flat, stationary Earth, where the center is the North Pole, and east goes in circles, and west goes in circles, and south goes away. South Circle. South Circle. Australia is south because everything away from the center is south, and east and west are circles around the center. And it says here about the sun. The light travels east and west because the sun circles around us, east to west. Now, why would the Library of Congress have such interesting maps? Just from 1920, but we've known the Earth was a globe for hundreds and hundreds of years. I mean, Galileo proved gravity, and Copernicus proved it. We've known it. Well, maybe these guys and the guys who run that don't want you to know where you live, because, like I said in the beginning, it will prove to you that the Bible is true, and they all hate God, and they all hate Jesus. And they subtly program your mind to make you think that a stationary, flat Earth is stupid too. Have a listen.
Future, they want to be stuck in the past.
Sure.
We've heard this kind of thinking before.
It's terrible thinking, right?
Let me tell you something.
So terrible.
If some of these folks were around when Columbus set sail,
Oh, when he could have sailed over the edge of the flat Earth. That's what they do to make you think it's stupid.
They must have been founding members of the Flat Earth Society. They would not have believed
That's right.
that the world was
Mock
round.
it. Mock it. You see, I used to think the Bible was all allegorical and nonsense. And then I figured out where I lived. And I figured out that the Bible is maybe the only truth left. And did you know there's 200 Bible verses telling all of us where we live? 200 of them. The Bible is a flat earth book. It goes on and on. The earth is on pillars. It's immovable. So many. over and over and over again. All talking about stationary, flat, corners, immovable, on and on. I mean, if you're someone that already believes the Bible and you think you live on a globe still, well, guess what? Have you ever heard of biblical cosmology? You know, the belief that they all used to have, all the ancient civilizations leading up to ours, who is supposedly the most civilized and technologically advanced. Have you heard of the pyramids? Do you know we can't reproduce how they made the pyramids? Oh, and you think slaves pull them up? That's great. Hilarious, in fact. You see, if you're a Christian and you still live in a globe, shame on you for not spending time on actually reading the Bible with fresh eyes instead of the indoctrinated eyes that all the seminaries indoctrinate their pastors with, just like the public education system. There's an agenda to hide God from you and to hide the fact that we live in a spiritual realm and not a spinning ball. And I'm just here trying to help you figure that out. Biblical cosmology, flat, enclosed with the firmament and water above, and then above there. That's our good buddy God. You should get to know him. He doesn't want you living on a ball. But of course, all this is for entertainment purposes. I know that the Library of Congress has this in their archives just for funsies. On a satire account, entertainment only.
Flat Earth or Globe Earth? Let me know your team down in the comments.
Epstein was a CIA Mossad asset.
Yo, to anyone who's deep in the rabbit hole, bro, buckle up, bro, because this shit is absolutely insane. So, in 1893, this guy named Ingersoll Lockwood wrote a 3-part book series, right? The first one is called Travels and Adventures of Little Baron Trump. The second one is called Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey. And the third one is called The Last President, alright? In the first book, Little Baron Trump lives in Trump Castle in Germany, and he finds a manuscript by a man named Don Fum that leads to underground tunnels in Russia that have portals to other dimensions, okay? The first 2 books are just about Baron Trump and his dog, like, exploring all these weird dimensions, right? But this is where it really gets weird, bro. In the third book, The Last President, Don Fum uses these portals to become a controversial president who lives on 5th Avenue in New York. And he basically ruins the price of gold and is super controversial and ruins everything. His vice president's name is Pence, bro. That shit is absolutely crazy, but it gets even crazier, bro. Ingersoll Lockwood lived on the exact same street as Nikola Tesla when he wrote this book series. At the very same time that he was living on this street with Nikola Tesla was claiming that he invented time travel. Like, he deadass was saying, I'm about to make freaking time traveling portals and we're about to do it. And a little bit after, he mysteriously dies in a hotel, and all of his blueprints, all of his inventions are in this hotel when he dies. Guess who gets sent, along with the CIA, to pick up his blueprints? John G. Trump. Trump's literal blood uncle, bruh. Think about it, bro. It gets even deeper, though. Wernher von Braun, Nazi scientist, by the way, founder of NASA, wrote a book called Project Mars in 1953 about a man named Elon who takes everyone to Mars. The founder of NASA. And now Trump and Tesla are working together. They got space and time. Think about it, Fifth Avenue right by Times Square. I'm telling you, dog, this shit is a simulation, bro.
That is a whole lot to try to just explain away. Let me know what y'all think.
They say the United States government mastered time travel over 50 years ago and used children as test subjects. In the late 1960s, a secret DARPA program called Project Pegasus allegedly created teleportation chambers powered by Nikola Tesla's stolen blueprints. Whistleblower Andrew Basiago claims he was only 6 years old when he stepped inside one, vanishing from a lab in New Jersey and reappearing at the Gettysburg Address in 1863. He says he's seen the year 2045, walked on Mars, and that the technology was powered by something called a chronovisor, a device that could bend space-time, eerily similar to real physics concepts like wormholes and quantum entanglement. But here's the chilling part. Basiago claims this technology is not only real, it's already being used to preview future wars, influence elections, and quietly rewrite history before it ever happens. If that's true, then our present isn't ours at all. What if the timeline we know is just one version they allowed us to see? How many other realities were erased before they could ever be lived? Follow for more hidden history they don't want you to know.
Israel's controlling our government. So no, the answer is no. Trump is powerless against him. We haven't had, I don't think we've been a sovereign nation since they shot JFK. And when I say they, it's like people online say, what do you mean by they? I'm talking about Israel. I don't want you guys to read in between. I'm talking about Israel. So let's stop making that a taboo subject because they've gone mask down. Everything they're doing is demonic. I want nothing to do with it. I will never support Israel into the future after what they've done to these children. The starvation campaign. I don't care. And I don't think that Jewish Americans should support Israel. And I hope that they're now having those conversations. I see many of them recognizing that they have been propagandized into believing they have to support this demonic state. Allowing your identity to shape your morality is problematic. Okay, so look at the footage of what they are doing. They're playing Hunger Games and throwing food at them and then killing people and seeing who survives. I mean, it's just at your fingertips. You have to take a look at what Israel is doing.
And that's why I love Candace Owens so much. She calls it as it is. She'll switch up teams real quick if the team goes left. That's because she don't never change. She always keep it 100.
If the Earth is flat, why is Antarctica colder than the North Pole? So picture this, we've got two ends of the Earth, right? On the globe model, the Arctic is up top and Antarctica is down at the bottom. Both get about the same sunlight, both are covered in ice, both are supposed to be extreme. But in reality, the North Pole is warmer, it has seasons of melting ice. It even has wildlife and plants surviving there. Meanwhile, Antarctica? It's a giant desert of ice, no trees, no villages, no cozy little animals. Just endless ice walls, freezing winds, and temperatures so brutal that humans can't even live there permanently. Doesn't that already sound suspicious? Now here's where it gets interesting. On the flat Earth model, Antarctica isn't a little continent at the bottom. It's actually a massive ice ring that surrounds the entire world. That changes everything. If Antarctica is the edge barrier, it means it's constantly shielded from direct sunlight. Unlike the North Pole, which gets the sun circling overhead throughout the year, the Antarctic ring sits on the farthest reaches, always catching the weakest angle of the sun's light. That would explain why it's colder, why it's harsher, and why it feels like a frozen prison nobody can escape. And think about this. Why do we hear about expeditions to the North Pole, but never about freely exploring Antarctica? Why are there international treaties signed by dozens of countries making sure regular people can't just go there on their own? If it's just a frozen wasteland, what's there to hide? Maybe it's because if anyone could explore it fully, they'd realize it's not just a continent. It's the very edge of our world. Here's another thought. On the globe model, the sun is supposed to be 93 million miles away, blasting the Earth evenly. But if that were true, how could the North Pole be warmer than the South when they're basically the same thing? shouldn't both poles be equally frozen? Unless, of course, the sun is much closer, much smaller, and moving in circles above us, like a spotlight. In that case, areas closer to the center, like the Arctic, get more direct exposure. Areas farther out, like Antarctica, are lit from a distance, which keeps them colder. Suddenly, everything starts making sense. And one more thing, why do we see videos of penguins in Antarctica, but not thriving human settlements? Yet, in the Arctic, we've got people living there, building communities, raising families. If both poles are supposedly the same, why is one livable and the other forbidden? Could it be because one is just ice floating in the ocean while the other is a massive wall encircling us, keeping everything in? So the next time someone says, if the Earth is flat, why is Antarctica colder than the North Pole? Flip the question back on them. Ask, if Earth is a globe, why isn't it equal? The truth is, the flat Earth model doesn't just explain it better, it also raises the kind of questions the mainstream never wants us asking. If this video got you thinking, don't stop here. There's way more they're not telling you. Check out the next video on this page, because once you see how deep this rabbit hole goes, there's no going back.
Welcome to McDonald's. I knew you'd be back for more. I've got a magic secret that keeps my loyal customers coming back every day. Me and the squad are cooking up that sickness for everyone, and they fucking love it. I have some special ingredients that nobody knows what it is. Funny thing is, they don't even care. They just keep coming back day after day. So come by and see me and my friends. You know you want some. Stop fighting the urge. I'm loving it.
They didn't release the Epstein files because they were sending you a message. They dropped the charges on Diddy because they were sending you a message. The same old games over and over and over because they're sending you a message. Do you get the message? If children are the future of humanity, which they are, then what does it say about our society if we can't make it a priority to ensure that children are safe worldwide? They know that the world knows who's on that list and who's been involved, and they don't really care. If you don't already know, then you should know that most of the people on that list work in Congress and in Hollywood. Oh, and don't forget, some of them also run very large churches. This isn't just about the children, although the children are the highest priority on this planet. This is also about souls. This is the largest soul harvesting operation in the universe. This planet has become a soul harvesting planet. When they go after the children, they hijack the soul. It's a form of hacking into the soul. Doing the things that they do in the Diddy Island, they're not just doing that, they're also accessing DNA. If you don't believe me, just research some of the investment companies that Epstein was involved in with Bill Gates and eugenics. And ask yourself, why were they also interested in impregnating lots of girls and getting access to their DNA? So what's the message, you say? What message are they sending you? What message are they sending you? They already know what you think. They already know that you know. They've been watching you all along. They've been listening. They've been spying. They've been hacking into you too. They know how you think, and they know how to fool you. They know how to manipulate every single thing based on how you think and what they know and they predict that you're going to do. So what's the message that they're sending you? These dark forces and the things that they've been doing since the dawn of time. This is why the earth was flooded during Noah's time. This isn't just about children or humans. This is about dark forces that are in unseen worlds. They're controlling you, puppeteering you, manipulating you at every turn. Now they have many of you thinking that this is some waiting game. If you just sit around and wait long enough, it will stop and it will all get resolved. The universe doesn't operate on waiting games. It operates now, in the now moment, every now moment. Humanity has waited for hundreds of thousands of years to resolve this scenario. Why are you being asked to wait again? Well, because they know you, and they know exactly how to manipulate you. And don't forget, they're sending you a message. Jeffrey Epstein and P. Diddy are two of the most grotesque beings on this planet that have been at least caught in doing things that are absolutely unthinkable to countless numbers of human beings. Letting them off the hook, what is the message that they're sending you? What is the message that they're sending the children on this planet? Do you really think that there's some wonderful plan behind the scenes that's just waiting to burst open when they had the perfect opportunity already and they let it slip away? They're not going to be pressing charges. They're sending you a message. They understand how your psyche works, how long it's going to take for it to slowly sink in and eventually make sense, and by then they'll be on to the next little trick up their sleeve. These are magicians and sorcerers that you're working with. These aren't just typical human beings. They know exactly how to manipulate you on a soul level. They're not releasing the list because they never intended to. They're not waiting for some better day to release it because today just wasn't soon enough. They're not releasing the list to you because they never intended to. What you guys don't understand is the cat's already in the bag. That's exactly how they designed it. The only way this game is going to change is when you stop falling for their sorcery and you start to understand what's really going on behind the scenes. That's when the game changes. When you finally say no more, when you finally stop waiting, that's when the game changes. When you stop the waiting game, there is no more time for this kind of impurity on our planet. And the only ones who's going to change it is you. And the way that you can change it is by stop making excuses for people that are lying to you and that are manipulating you and that are using sorcery to hijack your energy, your soul, your light, your monies, your resources, your planet, and your children. It's you who's going to change it, not them.
Yeah, they sure not going to release no list, that's for sure.
There's some pretty crazy predictive programming I just found out about. I'm sure there are others who aren't aware of this one, so I'm going to share. The 1977 song, Crack in the World by Sammy Hagar. This gets wild, but first let me point out, a crush in between, there's a thin, thin line. But just around the corner, there's a change in design. Just 50 more years, we're all gonna know why, when, where, how, and who gets to go. So let's all have a good time before the great divide, because things will start separating come 2025. So look for the subtle clues. It won't make front page news, which it doesn't. Sometimes we have to look deeper. Let's start by seeing what happens if we mirror the cover art for this song, and then connect the dots. Go figure. There was also a movie in 1965 called Crack in the World. Thank God it's only a motion picture, or is it? And the reason it's so crazy to mention 2025 and 1977, because it was also referenced in 1988 in the movie They Live, which just so happens to be a movie that I view more as a documentary. And of course the one-eye symbolism.
Our projections show that by the year 2025, not only America, but the entire planet will be under the protection and the dominion of this power alliance. The gains have been substantial, both for ourselves and for you, the human power elite.
They sure do like to just keep it right thrown in our faces, huh?
This video is only for TikTok. I want to show you guys something. This right beside me is my Facebook. Last month on Facebook, we hit 81 million views. On Instagram, we had 30 million views. Here's why I tell you that. I don't say it to say, look at me or look what I did, because obviously I didn't do that. God did, right? I've only posted on this Facebook for about 1.5 years. TikTok is not just hiding all of my stuff, because it's obvious it's not the videos, it's the platform. I've caught them making up fake statistics to hold my videos down. It's not just me. TikTok is doing this to every single Christian content creator that knows the truth and exposes evil. So with all that said, this will be my last month posting on TikTok. You can always find me right here, or on my YT posting long videos, or on Instagram. You have no idea the demonic principality that exists within this platform. A principality that wants to send each and every person to hell, ignorant, not knowing what's going on.
So the reason that I posted this video in here is because, well, it just happened to me a few days back. They banned my TikTok account. And heck, I've only had a TikTok account for like 7 months. Pretty new to it. But all over one video, and that was reposting the military personnel, veterans that were in Congress and got arrested for saying that what was going on in Palestine was wrong. Yeah, they banned my account for that. Just like that. 100 plus videos, everything gone like it wasn't nothing. So yeah, but I want to put this video in there for that, to show you it's them big content creators too, man. They don't care.
Dark truth hidden from us.
There's a map in Minecraft that you can download and load up, and it's banned in several countries. So this is a banned Minecraft map in multiple countries. This map is the Uncensored Library, and it contains hundreds of written books in game. And I bet you're wondering how books made this illegal. Nearly every Minecraft world has written books. Well, these books contain leaked confidential documents that expose government secrets from countries across the world. Some of these are so illegal that I can't even show you. And well, it's a user-made Minecraft map and has written books of CIA secrets, conspiracy theories, and books that are banned in other countries. So, specifically in China, there's a lot of books that are banned, which are mostly psychology books. But they have access through Minecraft, because they can download that map and then read it on the Minecraft books.
In 1969, the world just stopped. Millions of people sat in front of their flickering black and white televisions, watching what they were told was history in the making, a man apparently walking on the moon. Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, one small step for man, but, you know, one boy in Birmingham didn't cheer. He just stared at the screen and whispered, "Why does the flag wave if there's no wind?" Everyone around him told him to shut up. It's real. You're just a kid. But honestly, that question would stay with him for the rest of his life. So that boy grew up, and well, he never stopped asking questions. He wanted to believe it, of course. I mean, who doesn't want to believe that humanity conquered space? But when he looked a bit closer, things just stopped making sense. The shadows in the footage didn't match the light source. The camera panned smoothly before the astronaut even stepped off the ladder. Who was filming that from the moon with 1960s technology? He dug deeper. Why has no one gone back in 50 years? NASA claims they lost the technology. How do you lose the greatest achievement in human history? Your iPhone has more computing power than the rocket that supposedly landed on the moon, yet we can't replicate it today. Worse, when he analyzed the footage frame by frame, he saw strings. Yes, literal wires. Dust that kicked up, fell too slowly, almost like it was filmed underwater. Studio lights reflected in the astronaut's visor. No stars in the sky, no blast crater under the lander. It looked less like space and honestly, more like a movie set. Then he found it. A leaked interview with a NASA engineer admitting they can't go beyond low Earth orbit. Wait, but the moon is 238,000 miles away, so how did we go beyond Earth's orbit 50 years ago, but not today? That was the breaking point. He stopped seeing the moon landing as a triumph and started seeing it as the greatest television show ever produced. Now, he's not alone. Millions are waking up asking the same question. If they faked the moon, what else did they fake? And when you realize the moon landing was just a well-lit stage, you start questioning the globe and everything it rests on. The moon landing wasn't science, it was cinema. If this opened your eyes, don't let it end here. Follow for more flat earth proofs. And share this before they memory hole it again. Because the truth didn't land on the moon, it landed here. This video is for entertainment.
And that brings us to our intermission. First half of the show is up. On to intermission. Welcome back, everybody. Chapter 3.
Grocery chain paying cleaners $1,200 monthly for 7-hour shifts while giving managers 180 paid days off. Their secret, putting happiness over profits, is China's Pangdong Lai supermarket. At Pangdong Lai, janitors earn more than local bank managers. Employees vote to fire bad bosses. Workers get 139 annual vacation days by law, plus 10 more no-ask mental health days. The founder believes if you're tired, you're doing it wrong, and forces executives to take month-long vacations. Now let me tell you where the real magic happens. You walk into a movie theater that'll actually refund half your ticket if the film sucks in their stores. A bookstore that encourages you to rip open sealed books and read for free. Every product on the shelf shows exactly what the store paid for it and their markup. Need groceries? They'll pack them perfectly with free ice packs. Shopping with your dog? They've got air-conditioned pet daycare. The fish market? Spotless, no smell at all. Even their bathrooms are next level with Dyson dryers and emergency buttons. This is all part of their no greed policy. No ads cluttering up the store. No $10 popcorn at the movies. Bottled water costs just 17 cents. Those impossible claw machines. They'll open it for you if you can't win. And get this, unsold food goes to staff at cost instead of getting tossed. The founder gives 95% of profits back to employees. Let that sink in. While American retailers are fighting unions, Pangdong Lai staff literally wrote their own rule book. Managers have to work regular shifts on the floor. Employees vote on their bosses every year. Any department that gets less than 80% approval from workers gets completely restructured. And customers, they've developed almost cult-like loyalty. People line up at 5 a.m. for 70-cent bean sprouts. Tourists actually fly in just to experience what they call retail therapy. These stores became so popular they had to start limiting how many people could enter. Now don't get it twisted, this isn't some charity operation, it's business genius. A single Pangdong Lai location outsells Walmart's Chinese stores by focusing on 3 things. Radical transparency, they'll even show you their suppliers' phone numbers. Employee dignity, overtime is strictly forbidden. And customer trust, heck, even their shopping carts have phone chargers. As American retail workers fight for 15 wages, Pangdong Lai janitors enjoy benefits Bezos would call unrealistic. Their success proves treating workers as partners beats union busting every time. His philosophy, if you need to exploit workers to profit, you deserve to fail. China just reinvented ethical capitalism while America still debates healthcare. When will Walmart copy Pangdong Lai?
Wow, no greed policy. That is amazing. And you know, China confuses the hell out of me because, I mean, obviously I'm an American, so I get a bunch of feed on, like all of us, about how bad China is, you know, and communists and all that, which I'm sure there's a lot of truth to all that. But on the flip side, there's also a lot of seemingly very happy Chinese people with a obviously very beautiful country, and their technology is through the roof, and there's just be so much propaganda out there, man. Sometimes you just don't know what to believe. But obviously, without a doubt, China is a major police state, and that's my biggest number one thing with anywhere, which is what scares me to death of what's going on in America right now. It's getting to that point. Way too much surveillance, way too much. But other than that, China seems they're pretty much how they shit together. Real talk.
This is insane. Over 7,000 Chinese EVs just showed up in Brazil. But here's the twist. They didn't get unloaded. They drove off the ship themselves. Seriously. A few days ago, this giant ship pulled into Itajaí port, BYD's own ship, the Shenzhen. It's 200 meters long, 38 meters wide, basically a 60-story building on water. But the real shock? It carried 7,292 electric cars, all made in China. Not parts, not containers. A full-blown EV army. Dock workers were like, this isn't shipping, this is a landing. And no cranes were used. The ship has ramps, front, back, both sides. It's called row, roll on, roll off. The cars just drive off in a line, about 100 cars per hour, like leaving a parking garage. So why go all out? Because BYD's Brazil factory isn't ready yet, and instead of waiting, they said, fine, we'll build ships and deliver cars ourselves. Other car companies use shipping firms. BYD, they built a fleet. And Shenzhen, that's just the start. More are coming. Changsha, Xi'an, 8 ships total, a full-on EV navy. This isn't just exporting cars, it's China saying, we don't just make cars, we control the road and the sea. Now here's the real question. If a BYD EV pulled up in your city, would you drive one? Comment below. Down.
Pay attention to this, man. This is crazy. Listen close.
May reshape not just Africa, but the entire digital world. Quietly, without the fanfare of Silicon Valley press releases or glossy Google keynotes, Africa flipped the switch on an internet of its own. For 1.4 billion people, the rules of the game just changed. For decades, Americans and Africans alike have lived under the illusion that the internet was universal, borderless, and fair. But the truth is far less romantic. The web you and I know is not a neutral highway of information. It is a toll road owned and operated by a handful of corporations headquartered in California and Seattle. Google, Amazon, Microsoft, they have been the gatekeepers deciding how fast your search reaches you, how much you pay for access, and what information rises to the top. And Africa, for over 20 years, has been forced to play by those rules. That ends today. The African Union has unveiled what it calls the Continental Internet Exchange, a parallel infrastructure built not in the image of Western corporations, but for Africans themselves. It is not simply another internet service provider. It is a digital declaration of independence, the technological equivalent of a revolution. Think about it. When a student in Lagos wants to look up African history, why should their query travel through Europe and back, filtered by algorithms that often bury African voices? Why should an entrepreneur in Ouagadougou pay inflated fees to Silicon Valley shareholders for cloud storage when servers could sit in their own city? And now, here is the question we must all ask: what happens when 1 and 1? 4 billion people stop renting space on America's digital highways and begin paying their own. What does it mean for Google, for Washington, for the very idea of a unified internet? Stay with me until the end, because this story is not just about Africa's future, it's about ours. If you believe that...
That's absolutely incredible what Africa's doing there. That's amazing. And we need to do that here as civilians in America, to break away from our chains, our online chains and cuffs and shackles.
Here's what they're not telling you about the inflation report. So the inflation report for August is set to drop today. And this is important because it helps the Federal Reserve understand if inflation is ticked up or not and what they should do with the interest rates. And that inflation report is given by the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. But the question is, how are we getting this inflation data, and how do we know if it's accurate or not? Here's what's important to note. You can see that the BLS has been publishing inflation data for over a century, starting with its first price indexes in 1919. So for over 100 years, the BLS has been responsible for getting us the most accurate, up-to-date data. But now let's look at the model for how they actually get the data. We can see that the BLS collects data each month by conducting 2 surveys. One records the prices of most goods and services, the other the price of housing. For most goods and services, BLS representatives visit or call various stores across the country and record what different items cost. During each trip, the data collector records the prices of the same goods and services as the last month. Prices in New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago are collected every month, as are food and energy prices across the country. Prices for commodities from other places, which tend to represent a smaller chunk of the overall basket, are updated every other month. So basically what they're saying is that the data that the BLS collects only happens once a month, and it's done by either going online or calling the actual business and asking them what the prices are and going month by month. They're not getting real-time data. And oh, by the way, they also have to trust that those prices that they're seeing online or the person that they're talking to aren't just marked up because they're trying to make more profit. And then it says for most other goods, those are collected every other month. So basically, they're just averaging that inflation rate. But what if I told you there's another inflation report that's more accurate? Welcome to Trueflation that came out yesterday, and it shows that the inflation report is 1.99%. Now, Trueflation is an independent inflation reporting agency, and they've been around since 2021. And what they believe is they should be collecting real-time data and using total transparency to get accurate prices. And where the BLS only does 2 surveys with most goods and services and housing, Trueflation pulls millions of data points from online, in-person, utilities, commodities, rent prices, gas prices, all of it at the same time. And remember that the BLS just averages their inflation report. Whereas Trueflation, you can see what it is literally by the day. And this has a lot of people questioning if the data that we've been getting can even be used anymore. Because if the BLS is just averaging things and Trueflation is getting real-time data, why are we still using the BLS data? And therein lies the big problem that we've been seeing with the inflation report for the past couple of years.
Consumer Price Index rose 2.9%, which is the highest reading since January. Want to guess which 2 items were at the top of the list of rising prices? Roasted coffee with a 21.7% price increase just since last year. Just underneath that, steak at 16.6% in 1 year. This is not a coincidence, because do you know who provides most of our imported coffee and beef? It's Brazil. We import 1 billion pounds of coffee from Brazil each year and about 800 million pounds of beef, or at least we normally do. But Trump chose to slap a 50% tariff on both of those items on August 1st, which made importing cost prohibitive for millions of small businesses, forcing huge price increases to the consumer. Because it doesn't matter if you're buying those items from Brazil, if you're buying them from somewhere locally. When supply goes down, price goes up. But that's only one headline. So what's the other one? Those who have been paying attention know that the 50% tariff on Brazil was not economic. It was not because Trump was trying to score a better trade deal or lower prices for consumers. It's because Trump was trying to force the Brazilian Supreme Court to drop charges against his friend Jair Bolsonaro. Because Bolsonaro, stop me if this sounds familiar, was on trial for trying to overthrow an election and for attacking government buildings. Of course, Trump saw himself in Bolsonaro's image, and so he tried to use the cost of our coffee and steak to get his buddy out of prison. But you may not have seen, while the United States was distracted over the last day and a half with routine tragedies, Brazil stepped up and convicted Bolsonaro anyway. A 4-1 ruling by their Supreme Court is going to send Bolsonaro, who is 70 years old, to prison for 27 years, which I think is great news. In fact, I think I'm going to celebrate with a nice cup of coffee and a Brazilian skirt steak.
Yeah, we'd most certainly never know the state of our financial affairs as far as the country goes without researching ourselves. They don't want us to know just how bad things truly are. So it's important that we get out there and look, follow these people and dig into these people that, got the background for really getting the nuts and bolts out of a story and coming with receipts. It's important. With that being said, y'all, we're heading on into that 4th and final chapter of the day. Hope y'all enjoyed the show so far. Let's get going.
Yes, sir. I need to talk to you for a second. I'm being told by the receptionist.
A cop storms a hospital demanding ID, but the Fourth Amendment says no ID without lawful detention, and HIPAA protects patient privacy. Then the twist. This suspect isn't a criminal. He's internal affairs on an undercover sting. See what happens next.
That you're trying to get a file from a patient without prior authorization.
Sir?
I'm going to need you to come with me.
Sir, this is official police business. You might want to walk away.
I need to see some identification because what you're doing is a felony.
This is the last time.
I'm being told by the receptionist that you've been harassing patients and that you're being rude and disrespectful to them. So I need you to come with me. I need to see some kind of identification.
Am I being detained right now?
You're not being detained, but you've taken a patient's file without prior authorization.
I'm not taking a patient's file.
Yes, you have. You've got a patient's file.
Listen. You're getting very frustrated.
No, I'm not getting frustrated.
I'm trying to let you know what's going on, okay?
I already know what's going on.
No, you don't. You don't.
I do.
Okay? I'm trying to handle some business right now, and the best thing for you to do is just to go on about your day.
I'm not going to do that. I need to see some identification first before I go.
I'm not going to see any identifications. There was no crime committed. I'm just trying to handle my business. You should handle yours and leave.
I was told by the receptionist that you were harassing him and that you were taking a patient's file that does not have prior authorization for you to have that file.
Officer,
so I need to make sure that
you
that
don't know
is.
What we've been talking about.
It doesn't matter. I need to see some identification, please.
You would know what was going on.
Well, if you could show me some identification, then everything would be fine.
I'm not showing you any identification. You need to leave this scene.
I'm not going to leave the scene. I need to see some identification before I do leave.
Sir.
Just to make sure that this gentleman is not being harassed. And that.
Tell me what crime I can.
The crime is that you've taken a folder that belongs to another patient and you don't have the authorization to do that.
I haven't even got the files that I came here.
It doesn't matter. I need to see some identification.
Crime committed. I haven't taken any.
It's a HIPAA violation.
There was no HIPAA violation.
It is a HIPAA violation.
You have a complete misunderstanding of what's going on. So I'm telling you, you should go on about your day.
When you take somebody's file that doesn't belong to you, it is a HIPAA violation. And this gentleman came up to me and told me that you were trying to get some information and you got the file and that you wanted the file, and you can't have that.
Officer, I don't know who informed you or
you're looking at the gentleman that informed me. He's right there in front of you, the receptionist.
This is not what's going on. Okay.
Okay, so I need to see some identification so I can clear everything.
So you should stop interrupting what's going on.
I'm not interrupting.
What's best for you. Okay?
I need to see your driver's licenses so that I can get some paperwork started.
There will be no driver's license shown.
I'm not leaving until you show me some kind of identification.
Can you show me what kind of crime I committed?
You've taken a patient's file folder that you're not allowed permission to take.
I haven't taken
That's a HIPAA violation.
I'm here to receive information, okay? And what you're doing right now is you're disrupting something very important that's going on.
No, I don't think I am. I need to see some kind of identification, please.
I know you are, sir.
Show me some identification.
I think it's best.
I'm not leaving.
That you just leave.
I'm not leaving until you show me some identification. That way, this gentleman can be assured that everything's going to be okay.
I assure you, I will not be.
I can't. You can't assure me until I see something in front of me, please.
Okay, officer. The best thing to do is just walk away.
You've repeated that many times. I'm not leaving until you give me your driver's license so I can see it, please.
You don't need my driver's license.
I need to see some identification.
There was no crime committed. There's no reason for you to see identification.
Why did you take that patient's folder then? He says that you took somebody's folder without permission, without you having prior authorization on that. That is a HIPAA violation, sir.
You said I've taken a folder.
The gentleman here, the receptionist.
I'm here on official business. Okay? What do you not understand about
What part don't you understand? I've already told you that this gentleman is not going to be satisfied until I clear you.
And I've stated on multiple times.
You haven't been cleared. I need you.
Best thing for you to do.
I need to see your driver's license.
You don't need to see anything.
I need to see your driver's license.
What you need to do is just head right down that hall.
I'm not doing that.
All right.
And I've already told you that a million times.
Well, I'm letting you know I'm not showing you any identification. I'm here on official business.
I don't think you're here on official business. You look very suspicious to me.
Now I look suspicious.
Yes, you do. And so there's this gentleman here. The receptionist told me that you look suspicious. So I want to make sure that things are clear before I leave.
Letting you know I'm here to get this business taken care of. And what you're doing is you're become a distraction.
I have not become a distraction.
Yes.
You've become the distraction. I'm asking you for identification, and you are being rude and disrespectful to me, and I don't appreciate that.
Listen, do you see this?
Yes.
I was shot 3 nights ago during an undercover buy. The person that shot me, he's here. Okay? And the file that I'm getting isn't his. It's mine. Okay? I'm here to bust the doctors that's been selling our undercover list to the gangs out here. Okay? Do you see what this is? Do you see what this is? Okay?
Yeah, I see that.
What you're doing is you're trying to arrest a detective from Internal Affairs doing an undercover sting. Okay? How do you think that report is going to look when you go back to the office?
Well, sorry, I didn't know. Continue on.
It's funny how that tone changes instantly with that power dynamic shift, huh? They're all powerful, don't care about your rights or nothing when they think they're the one in power. The minute they realize they're not the one in power, that shift is instantaneous. And just think, y'all, that's always like that. Now, had that other guy not have been an officer, and not to mention a superior officer, who knows how that would have ended. It's terrible.
You want to know something that they don't want you to know? Intermittent hypoxia releases growth hormones, stem cells, EPO, VEGF, and can increase your heart health, your brain health, and your gut health in that order. Why don't they want you to know this? Because stem cells are $25,000 if you want to get them from the doc. That's why they don't want you to know what I'm about to tell you. You're probably wondering what intermittent hypoxia is and how you can do it yourself. Breath holds. You want to heal from an injury right now? You want to heal from a disease? I'm going to show you how in 90 seconds a day. You're going to exhale and hold your breath for 60 to 90 seconds. You can do whatever breath work you want to do prior. I recommend doing some activation style breath work beforehand. And during this, you're going to just chill. You're going to go into your parasympathetic nervous system and you're going to let those growth hormones release and those stem cells release. And you're going to allow your body to feel safe enough to heal so that you don't have to go out of pocket. Look it up if you don't believe me. Go on chat, check out all the studies showing intermittent hypoxia and the effects it has on the body. The myelin sheath, the EPO, the red blood cell count, the resting heart rate dropping like a stone. You want to live longer? That's how you do it. You want health? You want cardio without doing cardio? That's how you do it. Thank me later. Love you guys. Peace.
So I'm weak and it was all made up, huh? Okay. Maybe I'm alone here, but I never have, and to this day, I couldn't care less about politics. To me, it was always a pacifier for adults, like a soap opera that just keeps people entertained and divided. And the only reason why I know who the majority of these people are is because I woke up to what was really going on with these kids. And wouldn't you know it, they go hand in hand. Every single person on his team used Epstein as a bargaining chip to get to where they're at now. Now you want to say it was all fake? So what you're saying is you hustled the American people. Now I know there's a lot of people that are trying to stand on this hill with him. Well, let me ask you this. Y'all say you're awake, right? Well, what exactly did you wake up to? Because corruption inside the government has always been around. That's why we grew up with bands like Rage Against the Machine. Exactly how deep the corruption goes? Maybe. But let's be real here. We all woke up to exactly what's going on with our children. And that added a whole new level to the game. And personally, that's the only thing that turned me into a supporter, if you want to call it that. And personally, I've done the research. I don't need anybody to tell me it's real. And I'm definitely not going to accept being lied to. Listen, this shit has destroyed families, marriages, torn friendships apart. So as far as I'm concerned, right now, they're all involved. I don't care who it is. We will find out what's going on with these kids. Y'all stay safe.
What made you decide to change your nationality?
The same reason you should do it for your kids. Because I know police, when they get the education, they not all the way educated. They only know how to train and protect the assets. You get the American Jurisprudence book. Oh, here it is. This was the education. I know y'all don't like niggas that read. I'm now the holder in due course of the birth certificate on a state and federal level. I got the full faith and credit. This is my private affidavit of the certificate of live birth. Now, you stated that you never heard of the Moroccan Empire, but here it is right here. That's the same emblem on the back of the dollar bill. Why do you got your emergency lights on? What's the emergency? The emergency is your vehicle doesn't have a valid registration. Yeah, that's private property. Registered to the trust, not the QSV trust. Go get your white shirt. Call your sheriff. I need somebody in honor. Do you have a license? Nope. Right to travel, passport. You in trouble. Are you going to identify yourself? I'm a Moor. All right. Do you have your license? I'm a national. Okay. Go ahead and step back there. Let me get my paperwork. We are not in a democracy. This is a republic.
I'm gonna be honest. I really have no idea what you're talking about. So, if you explain it, dumb it down a little bit.
Okay, so the republic, there's two governments on the back of a dollar bill. The Moroccan government, that's called Illuminati, which is the pyramid, the all-seeing-eye. And then there's the United States Corporation that's on the right side of the back of the dollar bill, which is the QSV Trust of Queen Elizabeth, who you took an oath to protect the assets of their trust.
Folks, this is one of the most important videos that you'll see all year. What he's talking about is very real. In fact, I'm in the process of getting my paperwork together to file to do this myself, to get your nationalism instead of your citizenship, because that's how they trick us into being the straw man, you know, being a corporate entity versus the living man. Very, very important. You don't need no driver's license. That's not even legal. You don't need no insurance. You don't need no tags on your car. All that stuff is only because they rob you through your unwilling and unknowing participation in this straw man corporate setup that they've got going on. Very important. Check into it. Get your real freedom together. That's what I'm doing.
Did you know that if a policeman gives you a ticket, cop pulls you over and gives you a ticket, that is called a ticket in commerce. And so if you go to buy something and you don't have the money and it's too expensive, you ask me to co-sign for you. Now, if I co-sign for you to buy something and I co-sign on the ticket, that means if you don't pay it, I have to, right?
Right.
Therefore, when the cop gives you a ticket, he signs it first. It's called a ticket in commerce. Because money is going to change hands. Therefore, when you sign it, you are the co-signer of the ticket in commerce. Well, as a co-signer, you don't have to pay the ticket. You were just a co-signer, and you can decide, I don't think I want to pay that ticket. And then you send the ticket and the paperwork to the Secretary of State, and they then give it to the Attorney General. The Attorney General then sends it back to the cop, and the cop has to pay the ticket because he's the one that signed it first. You were just a co-signer. But as long as you don't understand this, people don't understand the way banks and commerce works.
And government.
And religion, and it's all one big show. And if you're not licensed to play in the show, like George Carlin used to say, it's a big club and you ain't in it.
And y'all, we have come to that point in the show where it's about time for those curtains to close. But y'all know we come in this house happy. We leave this house happy. That's just how we do it around here. So you know I got to leave y'all with some smiles. Let's get a couple laughs in before we get out the door. Y'all ready? Let's roll.
Come on. Come on.
I got a hell of a kick out of that. That had me rolling. I thought y'all liked that too. But anyway, y'all, thanks again for being here. I really appreciate you. If you got a second, hit that like button. You know, maybe leave a comment. It's a small effort for a big change for me. It really helps out a lot. And hey, y'all, don't forget, man, it's just a big old world with a big old stage full of actors. So keep your eyes open, keep your ears peeled, and keep that head on a swivel. I love y'all. We'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.
Kingdom last year when it was leaked to the media.